Hey, I'm Tom. Do you know what I love? I love jobbers. You have to be a certain type of person to be a star. Big, strong, tanned, athletic, good-looking, competent. But anybody could be a jobber, especially in WCW. They had, no standards. I probably could have been a jobber in WCW, except I was really little, and it would have been a really horrible thing if the Steiner brothers fought this kid. Today, I'd like to tell you about some jobbers from WCW that I love. Now, disclaimer straight up, I actually don't like the phrase jobber. I think it's demeaning and offensive, because some of those dudes are actually good. It's just the weird ones that aren't. But here's the thing. YouTube really likes the word jobber, but more respectful terms like enhancement wrestler, journeyman, carpenter, those don't work as well with the algorithm. If I type WCW carpenter into the Google search bar, I'm just going to get one video about Arn Anderson's new porch. And also, this is not a ranking in order. This isn't a ranking at all. This is just some guys I wanted to talk about today. So don't get offended if I didn't mention your favorite. Trust me, we'll talk about the gambler someday. One's not better than the other, except for the ones that I say that are. Just slow your roll, okay? So let's talk about some WCW jobbers. First up, Mr. Excitement, John Taylor. To be honest, the nickname is doing about 90% of the work here for John. He appeared on WCW TV a few times in 1995 to get beat up by the Stars. His most notable move was the finger guns he shot off during his 2 seconds of screen time before his matches. Should have called him Mr. Second Amendment with that gun control. I love John Taylor because he's probably the funny guy at the office he works at, and compared to his coworkers, he's definitely Mr. Excitement. So someone in the office was probably like, with your personality, you should be on TV, Mr. Excitement. And so he went to a couple open mics, tried a little bit of stand-up, but he wasn't getting on TV fast enough. So he figured the easiest way to achieve his stardom was to let people beat him up in a wrestling ring. Once the agent saw that, he was destined for TGIF. Unfortunately for John, Hollywood didn't come knocking down his door after those beatings, but he got a pretty cool jacket out of the whole deal and some bumps and bruises that he could brag about at the water cooler. Here's a real weirdo, TC Carter. WCW was really lenient with ring gear for the enhancement guys compared to the WWF. No real dress code, just kind of wear what you want, but I feel like TC Carter took that just a little too far. He had nicer ring gear than all the Stars. Heck, the dude would show up with a big ol' hat to get beat up by Vader. How did that hat never get pooped in? Wrestlers loved pooping in their co-workers' hats back then, even their buddies who were getting pushed. Jerry Lawler's crown, Buff Bagwell's sexy top hat. How did an enhancement guy get away with a poop-free hat? TC was a regular on WCW TV for years, and he even worked the dark match at Starrcade in 1990 against Bill Irwin. Had quite the run. In case you're wondering what TC's up to these days, he's still wrestling. And yes, he's still dressing like he exploits sex workers as his main income. I'm scared of this dude, the Cajun Predator. That name alone could strike fear in the hearts of anyone with a pulse. What could a wrestler named the Cajun Predator look like? Big, dark, scary? No, he was just a middle-aged bald dude in plain trunks and boots who looked bored out of his mind. To the best of my knowledge, he only had one TV match in 1990 where Brian Pillman and the Z-Man figured out in real time that he couldn't do even the most basic of wrestling and ended the match early to avoid anyone getting hurt. But I will never forget those piercing, sad eyes. Seriously, he needed a therapist or a hug. What happened to that dude? Something wasn't right. This guy has a special place in my heart. Jumpin' Joey Maggs. Now, I feel weird categorizing him here, since he did once kinda, sorta, almost get a push with Teddy Long, but this is a sentimental one for me. You see, little Tommy's favorite wrestler for years was Joey Maggs, I swear. When I'd play wrestle as a child, I would pretend to be Joey Maggs' rookie sensation partner, tearing up the tag team scene, going after Colonel Parker's stud stable. I always liked the guys with the plain trunks and the boots, no frills, all that jazz. Because of that, Joey was a guy that I really gravitated towards. No matter how many times the dude lost, I would sit in front of my TV with my little sweatpants eating my Cheetos, knowing, man, he's gonna win the next one. The sad thing is, by the time WCW briefly got behind him with Teddy Long's crew, I had moved on as a weird, cynical, depressed little tween. Pause it right there. This is the part of the video where I tell you to go like and subscribe, but you're too smart for that. You're an educated person who is above all of those schemes that we pull on YouTube. I bet if I told you to like and subscribe, you wouldn't do it. It's your choice. I'm not going to make you. I'm not your dad. Unless you are either of my two children watching this, and then you better like and subscribe or you're grounded from your phones for a week. But if you're not my kids, do what you want. Like, it'd be awesome. I'd love it if you liked and subscribed. Maybe even left a comment. Became a member of my channel, just starting at 99 cents a month, but I can't make you do anything. You're your own people, strong, independent people. But please, like and subscribe. I need it. I need it so bad. I have nothing except for this. I just need to make money. I can't do something like this without talking about the patron saint of WCW jobbers, Lee Scott. Working as a movie stuntman during the day, Scott certainly wrestled like someone who made a living destroying his own health. When you saw those neon zebra print tights and the well-coiffed hair in the opposing corner, you knew a WCW star was about to give that poor man the worst beating you'd ever seen. Lee being destroyed by the likes of Sid Vicious and the Samoan SWAT team go down in history as some of the most spectacular, violent squashes anyone has ever seen. Lee's bumps are the thing of legend. Most of these guys I like for ironic, amusing reasons. Lee was tremendous. He was good enough that, if he came around these days where size isn't such a big deal, he probably would have been a really big star. He eventually followed in his dad Levi's footsteps to briefly become a referee for WCW. When I investigated Lee's post-wrestling life, I discovered that he's now a juggalo. Whoop whoop. Maybe the scariest dude on this video? Hangman Hurley Watkins. He's another guy who only wrestled once on WCW TV in August of 1991, but he really made it count. Just look at this lockup attempt on Sting. He's clearly seen some stuff, so maybe he just needed the embrace of another human being to let him know that it's all gonna be okay, man. After that, they just kept awkwardly looking at each other like, you gonna lock up? You want me to lock up? Let's maybe lock up at the same time. Maybe? Sting seemed so baffled by this man, so he ends up choking the Hangman briefly and then doing his finishing moves real quick to get the heck out of there. Shockingly, Harley stayed in wrestling through 2014. He was in a tag team called the Brotherhood, which, bad vibes. And despite how he looks, his announced hometown wasn't, hey man, I'm just in between places, Can I stay on your couch for a couple weeks? Two names, one dude, so cool, Rick Hard Rock. To be honest, I don't remember a thing about any match Rick Hard Rock ever actually had, but his wrestling name was Rick Hard Rock. How did they see his name on the sign-in sheet backstage and not just make him world champion? Who on earth is realistically going to beat Rick Hard Rock in a fight? Every kid in the world would want a Rick Hard Rock figure. Anyone who's into dudes would want to get with Rick Hard Rock, and anybody who wasn't would want to be Rick Hard Rock. Sometimes he would go by Hard Rock Rick because he needed to sound even cooler for some reason. And on a number of occasions, he teamed with a young rookie that went by the name of Mike Awesome. How were they not the most legendary tag team in the history of our sport? Rick Hard Rock and Mike Awesome sounds like the best fighting game of the 16-bit era. Even if Hard Rock was incompetent, which I don't remember him being, he should be in the Hall of Fame right now. Tell Triple Paul to stop choreographing entrances and get on the horn to induct him. So there you have it. Those are some WCW jobbers that I love. Now tell me who you love. Go down in the comments. Drop some knowledge. Who are your favorites? Maybe I'll cover them in a future video. Maybe I love them too. I'd love that. Leave that comment. Like, subscribe, become a member, yada yada. Check out my Twitch streams down there. Look at that. Cool, right there. Boop, 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 boop. Watch the shorts. People love the shorts I do every week. My name's Tom. Go hug a jobber, why don't you?